I always thought renting a room would be simple. Pay rent, mind my business, avoid weird neighbors. That was before I moved off Earth, before I learned just how strange the universe truly is, and way before my alien landlady accused me of harboring a sacred worm god in my pants. Yeah, welcome to my life. It all started 3 weeks ago when I stepped off a shuttle onto the desert moon of Jarkal 9, a dusty, sun-scorched rock orbiting a dying star. It wasn't much, but it was cheap, and I was broke enough to consider selling my left kidney if humans still had any value outside the solar system. Spoiler, we don't. Most species think we're primitive mammals with anxiety issues and self-destructive tendencies, and honestly, they are not wrong. I took a job as a scrap mechanic in the outer colony, patching broken hovercrafts and mining rigs while inhaling enough metal fumes to qualify as a biohazard. But hey, credits are credits, and I needed somewhere to sleep that wasn't a cargo crate. That's when I met Soraya Kathan, the 7-foot-tall warrior priestess who would become my landlady. Her species, the Shiren, were infamous, desert survivors, brutal warriors, and terrifyingly devoted to their religion. They worshipped Shai Hulud, the great sand Wim, a cosmic creature supposedly older than galaxies. Legends say it sleeps beneath the dunes of Jarkal, waiting for a worthy chosen one. I never imagined I'd be dragged into their mythology. Definitely not like this. When I met Soraya, she said only 5 words before tossing me the keys. No noise, no fire, no lies. I could handle that. I wasn't planning on throwing loud parties or burning the place down. The no lies part made me nervous, though. How do you prove you're not lying when your species literally invented sarcasm? Anyway, the first 2 weeks went fine. She ignored me. I ignored her. Perfect living situation. Until tonight, when she kicked down my door with a plasma spear and an expression that could peel my soul out through my nose. And she yelled a sentence that changed my life forever. I froze. There are very few ways to respond when a 7-foot alien priestess accuses you of carrying a holy worm in your pants. None of them are polite. What? I croaked, clutching the bedsheet like it was a shield against divine judgment. Soraya's golden eyes flared, twin suns of outrage and curiosity. Her spear hummed with restrained energy. Do not feign ignorance. Human. I saw it move. You mean, my leg moved. Blasphemy, she barked, tightening her grip. At that moment I realized 2 things. First, she genuinely believed her words. Second, the translation chip in my ear was struggling to keep up with whatever theological meltdown she was having. Somewhere in its circuits, a poor algorithm was dying. I tried reasoning. Look, I promise you, there's no sacred creature here. It's just biology. Human biology. She blinked, tilting her head as if recalculating the universe. You mean, you host it permanently? Willingly. And that's when it hit me. She thought every human male was walking around harboring a baby sandworm like some portable shrine. I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or start writing a strongly worded Interstellar guidebook. Before I could clarify further, she suddenly lowered the spear. Her tone shifted from fury to awe. The Great One has chosen you. Then, you are the keeper. Keeper of... No. You're misunderstanding. It's not divine, it's just attached. She ignored me completely and began chanting. The air vibrated. The floor pulsed faintly under my feet, like the planet itself was listening. From somewhere outside, a deep rumble answered, low, distant, but unmistakably alive. My skin went cold. Was there actually something under the dunes? See, she whispered reverently. Even he stays for you. My mouth went dry. That's probably the plumbing. She looked at me like I'd insulted a god, which, technically, I had. Within minutes, half the building's tenants had gathered outside, whispering and bowing in my direction. I'd become a prophet by accident, and I was still half naked. Great. First week off Earth, and I'd already founded a religion. If there's anything worse than being worshipped by strangers, it's being worshipped by strangers who think you're hiding a sacred worm deity in your pants. I barely had time to throw on pants before Soraya dragged me outside. Literally dragged, by the wrist, like a criminal being hauled to trial. A crowd had formed under the desert night sky, all Shiren. Their tall silhouettes flickered in the torchlight, eyes shimmering with fanatic curiosity. Some bowed, others pressed fists to their chests in salute. One fainted. Actually fainted. "I'm not holy," I said to the gathering throng. "Silence," Soraya hissed. "The Keeper speaks only in visions." "What?" "I didn't say anything about visions." "Behold, he speaks in denial, just as a prophecy foretold." The crowd gasped in unison. I was starting to suspect these people had rehearsed being insane. A robed elder stepped forward, skin patterned with golden markings, age lines etched deep around intense eyes. This had to be someone important. Maybe a council member. Maybe a spiritual leader. Maybe the head of whatever nightmare cult I had stumbled into. He studied me silently, then spoke in a gravel-like voice. "Human," he said, "show us the Blessed One." Every gaze locked onto me. "Absolutely not." I blurted, "I'm not showing anybody anything." Another wave of whispers. Someone in the crowd actually shouted, "He protects it with modesty." Great. Now modesty was holy too. What next? Divine underwear. The elder didn't react. He simply extended a hand toward me. "You must come with us. The High Temple must examine this." "Examine what?" "There's no I repeated helplessly. Soraya stepped between us. "He is under my protection. The Keeper lives under my roof. I will accompany him." Something unspoken passed between her and the elder, some silent challenge. He nodded stiffly. "Very well. Dawn. First light. The Keeper is summoned." Keeper. Summoned. High Temple. Great. Just fantastic. I had arrived on this planet hoping to make enough money to buy a second-hand starship, maybe start a small repair shop. Instead, I had become the galaxy's most confused religious figure. As the crowd dispersed, Soraya glanced at me. Her voice softened, just a little. "You must rest," she said. "Tomorrow decides whether you live or are sacrificed to the dunes." "Wait, what?" But she was already walking away. Sleep should have been a basic function of the human body, but that night it felt like a luxury reserved for people not scheduled for possible ritual sacrifice. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the cracked ceiling, trying to process the fact that I was now legally classified, at least in one religion, as a potential prophet or cosmic criminal. Great choices, holy man or human pancake. A soft knock on my door interrupted my spiral. Before I could answer, it slid open and Soraya stepped inside, still armored, still holding that spear like it was an extension of her soul. But her face, something had changed. She didn't look angry anymore. She looked conflicted. "You shouldn't enter people's rooms without permission," I muttered. She ignored that. "Typical." "You are afraid," she said quietly. I stared at her. "Can you blame me?" Apparently, if the High Temple decides I'm fake, they won't just cancel me. They'll bury me alive and hope their god eats me. She tilted her head, studying me like I was a puzzle. "You speak lightly of death." "It's called humor," I said. "A coping mechanism. Humans do that." She stepped closer, lowering herself to sit across from me. The room felt smaller with her in it. Her presence had weight, like a storm about to break. "My people are harsh because our world is harsh," she said slowly. "We do not laugh at fear. We face it. Or we die." I rubbed my face. "Yeah, well, where I come from, laughter is how we keep from falling apart." Silence. Then, unexpectedly, her expression softened. "That is not foolish." We sat there for a moment, two completely different beings in the same storm, trying to understand each other. She reached into a satchel and placed a small metal crest on the table between us. "This marks you as under my protection," she said. "No one may harm you while you bear it." I picked it up. It was warm, heavy, engraved with a swirling spiral, like a worm burrowing into sand. "Why are you helping me?" I asked quietly. Her golden eyes flickered. "Because if you die tomorrow, I must answer for it. And because I do not believe the gods choose fools." I didn't know what to say to that. Was that trust? Respect? Something more? She stood and moved to the door. Before leaving, she paused. "Rest? Human. Dawn comes quickly." And just like that, she was gone. and I wasn't sure if I was still terrified or a little less alone. The desert moon bled orange across the sky as the twin suns rose, stretching long shadows over the dunes. Soraya was waiting outside in her ceremonial armor, expression as unreadable as ever. Today, she didn't need to drag me. I followed willingly, though every step toward the high temple felt like walking toward my own execution. We didn't speak much on the trek across the desert. The wind howled around us, carrying sand that stung like needles. Ahead, carved into the side of a colossal stone mesa, stood the temple of Shai-Hulud, ancient, intimidating, and alive with myth. Hundreds of massive pillars framed its entrance, each engraved with shifting glyphs that shimmered like liquid gold. As we approached, pilgrims bowed, not to Soraya, but to me. I had never felt more unqualified for attention in my life. Do they really believe I'm some kind of chosen one? I whispered. Soraya didn't look at me. Faith does not require truth, only belief. Right. No pressure. Inside, the temple was dim and echoing, lit by bioluminescent crystals pulsing in rhythm with a heartbeat I could feel in my chest. The air tasted like metal and ancient dust. Hooded priests watched silently as we passed, their eyes glowing faintly beneath their veils. At the heart of the temple, the High Council waited, 7 elders seated in a half-circle around a stone altar. I tried to stand tall, but my voice betrayed my nerves. I need to clarify that all of this is a big misunderstanding. I'm not a keeper. I don't have a sacred sandworm in my pants. I'm just... The center elder raised a hand. We shall see, he said. 2 priests emerged from the shadows carrying a large stone tablet. They placed it before me. Carved into it was a prophecy, one I couldn't read, but I recognized one thing, a symbol that matched the crest Soraya gave me. My stomach twisted. The elder continued. Long ago, our ancestors foretold the arrival of a traveler from the stars, one who carries the seed of the Great One. The proof will lie not in his words, but in the reaction of the WYIM. A deep tremor rumbled beneath us. The temple floor split open, and from the chasm, a distant, thunderous roar shook the pillars. Something was awake beneath the sand, and it was coming.